enough is enough. Like, you have enough. You don't need more. Enough in every area. Like, it's also because I've heard a lot of people, who did really reach that mountaintop and then were like, now what?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our community. I still haven't figured out if I'm going to put these full intros on YouTube or not, because sometimes I quickly do them audio only. I also feel like if people are finding an interview with a guest that they want to watch on YouTube and don't exactly know who I am, like, they might click out of the intro. So let me know if you feel strongly about it. If you're watching on YouTube and you're like, I want the full intro, let me know. I'll probably include it for this one so that you see it and let me know. And I will include chapter markers so you can skip the intro. If you are someone who's new and doesn't give a fuck about my life, that's fine too. We have a really cool setup this time around for the intro because I actually just filmed my first in-person at-home recording with this new setup, with the camera and all the things. I have recorded a few in my apartment before with just like family and close friends. So I did it with my brother. Sorry, not my brother. I did it with Ethan a couple times, my sister, and then also Carol Beth, because she's my friend, like our boyfriends were in the room. So I've only done it with people like super close to me that like would come over anyway. But that studio space that you're about to see is really, it's expensive to do it for every single episode. And I have all of the equipment at home. So I'm trying to be better about recording at home when it's someone that I feel comfortable doing so with. And I think I have a pretty good setup going. So it's going to look really good, this intro right now, because a guest that you'll see in a couple of weeks, we just recorded here. Okay, I feel like I'm talking in circles, but anyway, let's get into what's in alignment for us this week and what's out of alignment for us this week. And if you're new, that's something we do every single week. And you guys reflect on your weeks too. I just podcasted for an hour, so I'm a little tongue-tied. In alignment for me this week, I actually have two, which, I feel like it's better to have two in than two out. So we're just going to roll with it. Number one is Self-Care Fridays. And all of the race training I have coming up is definitely going to be a good excuse to do this. And some nights I'll still like go out with friends, see friends, but I'm going to try not to have like nights out with friends on Fridays. Like if there's anything like that, I'm going to try to keep it to Saturdays. And I end work at 7. So if I want to do my long runs on Saturday mornings, I kind of have to like go to bed like I do during the week. Like I can't just like go hang out with someone from 8 to like 12 a.m. I got to be a little more regimented about it. And I love feeling good on a Saturday for my long runs. Like it's just the best feeling ever. So I love like stretching, sauna blanketing, like all of that on a Friday night. Not to say I won't ever hang out with friends on a Friday night, but like you get the point. It's just been in alignment for me. The last few Fridays have been self-care Fridays. Tonight's a self-care Friday, no plans. And I'm just like, loving it. The other thing is I have snapped myself out of a lack mentality, which kind of goes into what was out of alignment for me, but this is how I'm getting out of it. I pride myself on being a very self-aware person, but sometimes it takes meditation, taking space, journaling to call yourself out and be self-aware and be like, holy shit, you have had such a lack mentality. Sometimes you need to take the space, meditate, like everything I said in last week's episode, to call yourself out and be self-aware. And so I realized that a lot of the anxiety I've had around wedding planning has been surrounding budget, which is totally normal, totally fine. I'm not going to shame myself for being upset about something. And like I'm fully aware that I am in a really privileged position. But because I'm surrounded by really like affluent people in the neighborhood I grew up in, I go to really nice weddings. And when you start to look at numbers and everything, you realize, oh, my budget actually doesn't match the kind of wedding I wanted. And like, again, that's okay. So I'm moving. What was happening was I was finding myself in a lack mentality. Oh my God, my budget's not going to be enough for what I want. Oh my God, my budget's nothing compared to these other people. Like lack. I sound like a duck. So I called myself out and I was like, I actually noticed I had plans with my friends the other night, and I noticed that one of my friends has the most like feel-good positive attitude ever. She always has a positive mindset. You always feel good around her. And in turn, really good things happen to her and for her. And you never really find her in a situation where she's like, oh, I wish it didn't. She's always positive about everything. And I feel it kind of inspired me to be like, you know what? What if I just stopped thinking in lack and being and having that attitude, and just started having an abundant mindset and abundant attitude so that I can actually attract more positive things to happen to me because I'm so carefree and lighthearted about it and not thinking so negatively. Like I have almost 2 years to make more money. Like there's just so much that I could be manifesting and that could change. And I was like, bitch, you need some lucky girl syndrome. So I came down with lucky girl syndrome last week after calling myself out. And I just decided to start saying like, things flow to me. Everything works out. I have enough time to get everything done. I am going to be able to make more money and create more freedom and independence out of my financial situation. And I'm going to be able to do what I love and be creative and make money doing it. And I have so much abundance around me. Only more is going to come to me. And just like all of these really cheesy affirmations I kind of say during my meditation. Like I do breath work in the morning, so I'll say it during then, but then I'll also put it in my 5-minute journal, and I'll also call myself out when I think in a lack mentality. And another thing that's been helping is like, it's not that serious. So anytime I get like overcome with anxiety over something small, or after I take a consultation with a wedding planner or whatever, I literally force myself to laugh it off. I'm like, it's a party. Literally, who cares? It's not that deep. And it's really helping. So those things are in alignment, kind of a mindset shift, and then like a tangible self-care Friday situation. And then I'm going to breeze right through out of alignment because what it is still feeling unsettled in wedding planning. I have no idea where we're getting married. I'm just dying to like book something because I think once the money and venue and everything's locked in, I will really be chill about the whole thing. This phase I think is going to be the most anxiety inducing for me. Guest list count, money, all of that stuff, just like dealing with families kind of is like my biggest trigger in life, which is a whole other episode. So I think I'm creating really good tools and mindsets around it. So we'll be fine. And my goal is to like within the week book a planner who's going to then help me with my stress of a venue search and really just like nail it down and book a venue so that I can stop stressing. So we have some action items in place. We'll be fine. So let's breathe in what's in alignment for us this week and breathe out what's out of alignment for us this week. If you're looking for a new Stanley alternative, the simple modern one is actually chicer and prettier. And until a report comes out that this has lead in it, it's lead-free. Okay, our guest for this week is someone I now have a huge girl crush on. Like seriously, whether you want to watch on YouTube or if you just like click play on the episode on Spotify, the video will pop up. You just need to see how chic this girl is. Or, I mean, you'll also see it on TikTok and all the things. But she's so chic, and she has the coolest, raspiest voice, and she's just fucking awesome. So I have a new girl crush. But anyway, her name's Natalie Holloway. She is the founder of Bala. I'm sure if you listen to this podcast, you are well aware of what Bala is. But her and her husband, Maximilian, started Bala in 2018. It's an LA-based movement company that features stylish workout accessories. I have a bunch that I've bought over the years, like in my little cabinet over there. And I've now been inspired to, when I go for a walk or just like have 5 minutes between meetings, I'm going to take out my Bala. It's like sometimes you just forget about things that you have and then realize, wow, that could really elevate my life if I just like took them out and remembered I had them. So I am re-inspired and really excited. And we get into honestly a lot of topics. We get into her whole journey of working in corporate America and dating her now husband for only 2 months at the time, and they literally quit their ad agency jobs and traveled full time and then came back and they went back to agency life. They created Bala, the whole story in that, everything she learned from going on SharkTank, working with those investors and the sharks. And we get into a lot of advice about getting in your own way, comparison when it comes to not only, social media and business, but also fitness, and talking about, bone density and the importance of longevity. We really go a lot of different directions, like comparison, networking, female empowerment, fitness, relationship to fitness, comparing yourself. I feel like there's a lot of like constant themes through the whole thing, but we talk about her business and fitness and everything in between. Truly, I asked a lot of questions about quitting her job to go travel because I'm like obsessed with that. And I think a lot of us have the fantasy, but she actually did it. So I was like, girl, tell us how. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this episode. Please subscribe if you haven't yet on Spotify or wherever you're listening. Give this podcast, 5-star review wherever you're listening. It just helps us get more amazing guests like this. Subscribe on YouTube. I don't know. Do all the things. You know what to do to support me. Okay. Love you guys. Mwah. Natalie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I feel like this has been a long time coming.
I know. I'm so ready for it.
I know. First of all, obsessed with your lip color.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like a matte.
It's unique.
Winky Lux, actually.
What is it?
Winky Lux?
I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, something I'm most intrigued about is the fact that was he your husband at the time when you quit?
Boyfriend.
Okay. That's
New
even
boyfriend.
crazier.
New boyfriend of like 2 months or something.
Okay, you and your new boyfriend of 2 months quit your jobs. You worked at the same company?
Yes.
So is that how you
and
met?
Sunny. We met at a party, a big party.
For the company?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you both decide, fuck this, we're leaving and we're going to travel the world?
Literally. We
How
were like,
old?
fuck this, we're overworked. I think we were like 27, 28, something like that.
Okay, that's my age.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
we were just like, a job's a job, fuck this. And we were like crazy. We were burnt out. So that's essentially why we were like, we got to just like kind of do a reset. A job is a job. We'll be there. There will be some form of a job when you return.
So you fully quit. You didn't like take a long vacation.
No. We were like, we're going to quit because we didn't know how long. Like, were we going to go for 6 months? Were we going to go for a year? Were we going to like live there? We wanted it to be open.
Okay, I think everyone has this fantasy. Maybe not everyone. A lot of people have this fantasy of like, what if we just picked up everything, left, and traveled the world? And there's a small percentage of people that actually do it. And then I feel like there's another type of person who fantasizes about it, but they feel like they're too logic driven, too responsible. How did you prepare? Or maybe you didn't at all, but how did you guys prepare to really take that leap mentally and also like financially, all of the things?
I mean, it's definitely a leap of faith. And it's funny because now it's like I have that fantasy, but in a different kind of way. I'm like, I'll just take the family, I'll go, and, I'll throw away my cell phone. I have a different sort of fantasy.
Do you have kids?
I have 2 kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's.
Yeah. So it's like a quiet life fantasy. But anyway, I think the way we prepared is, financially, we specifically chose Asia. And because you can travel for like cheaper, essentially you can, I think Airbnbs were like $10, $12 a night.
Yeah.
So really we looked at all of these like blogs. I'm sure it's way easier now to research this, and then we said like, how much do we really need a day? It was like $30 or $40. Like it wasn't a lot. And then we mapped out how long like we could go for. And I think we just, saved as much as we could as quickly as we could. And he had a little bit of savings to start. So we kind of were like, okay, we'll use that as the pool of money. And I think that was the leap of faith. We just kind of knew it was going to work out one way or another, because worst case that happens, like you go and you just come back and get a job. Maybe it's a job you're not thrilled on, but you will find a job eventually.
Well, also you were at an agency, right? So
Yeah.
agency, the turnover is so high. And from my own
sure.
experience at a PR agency, I was at like 3.
Yes.
It's quite easy if you had left one agency to
Exactly.
leave and then just like apply to another. Like they
Yes.
want to hire people from other agencies.
And I literally, I think I switched jobs every 10 to 11 months.
Wait, me too.
Really?
Literally every year.
I always look back on that. I'm like, okay, that makes sense now what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I was like, I would get bored or something.
I crave change.
Same. Get bored, want to leap. And so I was just used to switching jobs every 10 or 11 months, making it look like it was a little longer on my resume,
Yep.
like some weird stuff. But yeah, I switched. So I was just kind of used to that.
Okay, so you're there. You have the idea of Bala Bangles in a yoga class. And then you decide with your boyfriend of a couple months, let's start a business.
Well, it wasn't like that. Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't that. It was like, let's start. We literally put on our vision board, side hustle. Let's start a side hustle. We still were going to be in advertising forever, rise the ranks there.
Oh.
It was let's start a side hustle.
So
That's what was on the vision board, side hustle.
Okay. So you were still, you loved advertising and still wanted to do that with your life. You just needed a break from like the agency you were at.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I think I wasn't like fantasizing about really like going all, it just seemed far-fetched to like have a whole business support my salary. I don't know. I guess I just wasn't dreaming that big. And so it obviously became that very quickly, but at the beginning it was like, let's just like start this on the side while we're working as well.
So while you're in your 20s, burnt out, traveling, side hustle, this is like literally describing my community, by the way, of people who listen. It's like, I'm burnt out at my job. I have a side hustle. Like,
Yeah.
It's literally everything I talk about on my socials is like how to maintain wellness while you're like someone who hustles and is a crazy person like me.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're like preaching to the choir. So how did you know, okay, I'm burnt out, but I still want to stay in advertising? Like, how did you navigate that in your early career and then go from, I assume you came back, went to another agency, and then quit your job? Like, how was navigating all of that in your 20s like? Because I think a lot of people just feel like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, especially late 20s. You start to feel like, oh God, everyone says in your 30s you have it together. And like, I'm 28. I feel like I should be closer to that threshold. So how did you navigate the burnout and quitting your job?
Okay, so was burnt out, and then I came back and I was refreshed. And I was almost like I got a job in advertising again. And I was like, it's fine. I mean, I think I wasn't really overthinking the rest of my career. I just kind of thought that's where it would go. I would rise the ranks. And then so and then I think when we launched the brand, that became very, very interesting to me. All of a sudden I was like entrepreneurial mindset, like let's go, go, go. Like I was pouring everything into Bala basically. Like I probably worked probably like a year and a half at an agency while building the brand. And I think I immediately realized like my passion is for this. And so then the goal was to eventually quit my job. But I was like also a realist in that sense of I'm not going to quit until actually, until I'm like busting at the seams, until I know this is going to work. And because advertising was like supporting me financially and I could do both, it's like you're kind of like burning the midnight oil again, but it's different when it's like for yourself, for the future of your business and your career to like create your dream life. So I was burning the midnight oil in that sense. And then I think I realized it was time, as I said, when I was busting at the seams, like it was, and I think when the POs started to be from like Goop and Free People, like I was like, this is okay. I finally believe it. If Goop's in, like, I'm going to go all in.
So you were still working full-time at an agency when Goop was in?
Yes.
Wow.
Literally, my husband quit his job, I think the week before we aired on Shark Tank. So that's how like we kind of played it pretty conservative in that sense.
Okay. And when you were on Shark Tank, were you fully Bala?
Yeah, I was fully Bala.
Okay.
Maybe not when I filmed. I think right after I filmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shark Tank. What did you learn coming out of that? Because I would assume going into that experience, you have to build a strong pitch and then you come out with like a whole new business structure, a whole new business plan, these crazy huge investors, Maria Sharapova, like you walk out of there with a whole new business to kind of transition into, like you have to restructure everything. What did you learn from that?
I mean, I think what I learned from going on Shark Tank, it's kind of just like the mecca of experiences in terms of like, speaking on, I was scared of like public speaking, like all of that stuff. So I think that's like the mecca of public speaking, pitching your business. It's like, if you can pitch on Shark Tank to the sharks, I feel like you can pitch to any investor. You can speak at any panel. Like, it's like that's like what I took away is like, okay, almost like if I can do this, I can do anything. So I think that was what I took away from that. But it was very scary and intimidating and just like a very unique experience. I mean, afterwards, you're right. It does change. It's like after you air that it changes your business, right? Because all of a sudden you have this like huge platform. So even after you film on Shark Tank, there's like therapists on set that you have to talk to before you leave, because people's, it's like their whole life, their business most likely. And they are either told, hey, this is an amazing idea, like your life's changed, or this idea sucks, like go try something else. And I think either way you like need to wrap your head around that big moment. So that kind of tells you. I know. I'm like, so hopefully that's not a secret.
Helpful?
I don't even remember, honestly. It was like, we got $1 million. And we were just
right. You're like, I don't need to talk to a therapist.
I was like on cloud nine. I'm like, what am I? I'm happy.
Right. Like if I was depressed, maybe I'd be paying more attention.
Yeah. I don't remember what they said. I just thought that was like interesting.
It is. So are there any are you still in contact with the Sharks or Maria?
Definitely. I mean, there are investors, so we're actively talking to them. Yeah.
Okay, they're still fully involved.
Yes, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. So who's the Shark again?
Mark Cuban and Maria Sharapova.
Oh, both of them are still involved. Okay, is there anything you've learned from either of them on being an early business founder?
I think, from Mark specifically, he is very, for a billionaire, like he's conservative in his business approach. So what I've learned is to like, it's really not natural, I feel like, for a founder to just like be conservative, because you just want to go. You want to say yes to everything, take any chance. Like that's just the mentality usually, especially at the beginning. So with Mark, he's conservative. Like we'll get a large PO. He's like, I don't know if like that makes sense. You probably shouldn't do that. Or he's like, why are you spending so much? And I mean, he's not super tuned in like that, but why are you spending so much in this area? Like he's just conservative. So I think what I've taken away from that is, a little bit of like listening to his approach there with a grain of salt, because you still have to go. And then from Maria, I think honestly, the power of connecting. She's, one of the best athletes in the world, and she is connected to every brand and lots of celebrities and other relationships. So I think the power of connecting, it's like she'll connect us with another like-minded brand, and then we go and do a partnership. Like I think that is what I've learned for sure.
Have you found that other female founders in the fitness space are more competitive, or have you found it as a space where like you're now a part of this new community? Like how has networking and chatting with other women in this space been?
Honestly, this has been like the most amazing thing as of lately. Like I would say maybe even like the last year, I've just connected, not even specific to fitness as well, but really just like female founders in any vertical. It's like there's just like we're all kind of like helping one another, building each other up, also connecting, gifting for each other's events. Like there's like a few female founders that office with Bala now, like Doe and Brightland and Formula Fig, and it's just like great. It's like we're like able to ping ideas off of each other and just help each other. So it's this amazing like community is like starting to foster, which is awesome.
Can we talk about this for a sec? Because I feel like there's this idea of some people where they think it's too saturated, like gotta fend for myself. And then there's another camp of people that's like there's room for everyone. And I know a lot of people, especially in our 20s, can feel jealousy, envy, and it's like I want to be in the space of there's room for everyone, but I don't really feel that at my core. Do you have any advice for young women that might be listening who are like exactly what I just said? Like I want to support other women, but I just feel so jealous or competitive. Like how would you kind of have them shift that mindset?
Well, I think you have to like get rid of that mindset. You have to let that go, because it's just not true. There really is room for everyone. I mean, there's so many TV shows, podcasts, like brands in all verticals. I mean, obviously there's some verticals that are more crowded than others, like maybe skincare, and that's tough, but I still think building one another up is like it's only going to help, all ships rise. And so I think that for you just have to get rid of that mindset, because it's just not true. I've seen it firsthand, like even from the beginning of Bala to now. It's like I've seen Bala with even other fitness brands just like build each other up, help grow each other's audiences by collabing, and the same goes with like other founders in the space. It's like you can learn so much from another person, even just like, hey, what agency you're using for your TikToks. And I think generally the people, at least I'm around, like we want to help each other. And it's like, I do you a favor, you do me a favor. It really is just helpful. And if your idea is unique enough, there really is room for everyone. And then if you're feeling like that's not true, maybe go think about the idea more and like how are you different in the space, and that carve out your space.
Okay, two things on that. One, networking, I agree, is so powerful rather than thinking of it in like a competitive standpoint. Yeah. It's actually I meet with women on this podcast all the time, and then I become friends with them, and they, you know, connect me with their managers or whoever, and then they connect me with another guest, and it's like just so powerful, and we're constantly able to, even like from an emotional standpoint, it's like, yeah, people can connect you to people, but also how many of your friends are also entrepreneurs or content creators or whatever your space is that can really relate to what your day-to-day is. Like connecting with others only allows you to feel less alone, and then also probably helps you from a business standpoint too if you're all helping each other out. And then the second thing, you were talking about if your idea isn't unique enough, like how can you make it more unique? I have this thought a lot when it comes to, like, for me it's like social media, and that's a little tougher because I hate when people kind of have to say, oh, like the mindset of like, oh, I'm not unique enough, I'm not different enough, there's so many people like me. First of all, there's only one you. But then from like a product standpoint, how would you challenge someone? Like they feel like something's been done before, but they just know they can do it differently, but can't exactly pinpoint what they should do differently. Is there anything you would prompt them? Like, think about how you could take it one step further, one step more. You know, maybe your strength is like aesthetics. How can you make it the most beautiful of that product? Or maybe your niche is like, I don't know, you're an athlete. How can you make it like the most strengthening product or whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think for that, it's like you have to definitely go back to the drawing board a little bit, but it's the problem solution thing. It's like when people are like, oh, I want to start a business and I don't even have an idea. It's like, think about the problems in your life and what's a solution. And it's like, if you're even looking at like this hairbrush and you're like, I know I can make this better, but I don't know how, then I think it's like doing a deep dive, like, what don't you like about it? And then it's a problem solution thing. So I think that's, you know, not groundbreaking answer, but that's what I would think.
Well, sometimes it's like you hear the message constantly, but like it's a different vessel that will actually hit.
For sure.
So I'm like never fray away from repeating something that might have been said before, because I can't tell you how many times I've heard advice and it just like clicked with this one
for sure
person. So, okay, I want to talk about fitness. I mean, you came from an advertising background, so I almost feel like your strengths are in like brand building, marketing, which is very clear from how you've kind of marketed. Even on your Instagram, Bala's like people in like heels and Bala bangles. It just goes to show, I mean, it like gets the message across right away that like it's not just used for like a Pilates class in the morning. It can be used to elevate like anything you're doing in your life. But I have always wondered this about Bala. Anytime I've been like in a Bala groove, because I like ebb and flow, and like I've rediscovered them and I'm like, oh, I should bring them on my walk. Is there anything in terms of safety that we should be aware of? Like, are there, every time I go for a walk, either on my ankles or my arms, I'm like, should I be doing this for like more than 20 minutes? Like, I know that's a weird question, but like walking your dog with a Bala bangle, like, is it all just beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, it's all beneficial truly, because I mean, doctors literally say, and especially for women, your bone density is like constantly decreasing, especially if you've had children. So weights just build bone density. So for us, we say you can wear them like several hours. Like for me, it's like I'll wear them either half a yoga class or a whole yoga class or walking any amount, because it's just added resistance. And so I would say, unless you actually have like, I don't know, some sort of injury in checking with a doctor, otherwise, I mean, we have people that wear them all day because it's just added resistance that's helping your bone density.
Yeah. I guess to articulate also what my not my fear was, but like my hesitation was like, okay, I totally get behind and always use them on like Pilates or a walk because it's very intentional movement. Yeah. I worry about like, should I be like cooking with them? Because it's like weird movements with your arms, but I guess it's only a 1 pound weight.
That's what I'm saying. I think for a 1 pound, and I'll get a more scientific answer, but I think for a 1 pound weight, it's a little bit of added resistance. So it's like, it's not going to be damaging. I think if you're talking about like we're launching our 3 pounds, I wouldn't recommend that. And honestly, even for the 2 pounds, I recommend to do intentional workouts, you know, Pilates, yoga. But as a 1 pound weight, it's just like, it is enough to feel a difference and to help with that bone density, but it's not enough, I think, to like hurt if you do a weird move, you know?
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense in terms of like longevity, bone density. I'm sure a lot of moms like.
Yes. I mean, you start, I think at age 30, you start dramatically losing bone density. And then the second that you like give birth, that's as it's if you're a mom, like you already have lost a lot of bone density, so you are supposed to use little weights throughout your day.
I feel like I'm like manifesting my mom life, just walking
Yeah.
around my kid
With
in
your
their
stroller.
stroller
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
bala bangles. Like
Yep.
it's squeezing something in. And I think that's also, I feel like people think of it as it has to be this like workout that's going to transform your body, but it's kind of like almost working behind the scenes when you use it in that way.
Yeah.
A lot of us forget about longevity when it comes to fitness
Yeah.
or just in general, like little things we can do every day to improve our longevity and our muscles and like prevent, especially at a young age. Like I've been having a lot of people on thinking about like, how can we prevent sciatica when we're older or
Yeah.
like prepare for birth, like all of these little things. And I feel like I'm realizing just throwing on some 1 pound ankle weights can actually help.
For sure. Little resistance can definitely help. I mean, my mom has osteopenia, so that's like, I'm thinking about that. I'm very much thinking about longevity. I think because I had kids, so it's like, I want to be around if they have grandkids. My mom is able to run around with my grandkids. I want to do that, you know? So I think I have been thinking about longevity in that sense lately. I'm like, that's a reason to work out for
Totally.
sure.
What are some other practices you're doing? Because you're thinking a lot about longevity. So, like, what are other practices? Because I think also, like, meditation could be one, like, longevity for your mental state, especially, like, becoming a mom and everything.
Yeah. I think for me, I try to, like, do screen-free, stress-free time. So that could be, like, a bath. Like, that's a practice I do. I think I take vitamins. I've been taking Lyma, Lyma. I think it's good for longevity, but that's what I've been taking. Let's see what else. I think walking for sure, and then little resistance as well is something I've been doing.
Okay, how has your fitness routine and relationship to fitness evolved? Like pre-Bala, it doesn't sound like, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, like what was your relationship with fitness prior to getting into a brand that's literally a fitness-based product?
Mm-hmm.
Versus now, and we'll get to that after, but I guess what was your relationship with fitness before? Did you have like a healthy relationship with it? Were you not really working out? Like what was
I mean, before I was going to yoga classes, like sculpt yoga classes. So again, using weights, and then you know, it was more like, I think that's also being younger, like it was more about like body image, you know, gotta look good in a bikini or something, that sort of mindset. And then now it's shifted, and I think it's part having a fitness brand, also just like life changing, getting older and all that. It is more like of the longevity. And then now my fitness is, it used to be like I had to go to a workout class and that's a workout, but now I approach it differently. And this is also like the Bala brand, but more just like, okay, if I get a long walk in, like that's fitness. Like it's all part of my fitness journey. How much I walked that day. Did I add weights to my walk? So it's not necessarily I had to go get a sweaty workout in. So that's kind of how the conversation has changed internally for me. But then also I truly live the brand in the sense of, I always say, you know, it's like you can have your power ring or your beam or your dumbbells out near you, and it'll inspire you to like take a little 5-minute break and do a rep. And that is what I do truly, to like kind of get in a little bit every day versus like needing to go to a class every day, because I don't have the time, especially because of the brand. I don't have the time to go work out every day, and I'd rather like maybe use that time to hang out with my kids. So for me, it might be like just like an 8-minute Bala size video, or grabbing the dumbbells and doing like 40 reps. Like it's kind of just like more sporadic, I would say.
Okay, that's actually such a good tip though, because you're making me realize, remember I said before, I kind of ebb and flow with my Balas? Yeah. It's kind of like when I open the drawer and see them, I'm like, oh, I forgot about these. I should be using these on my walks and whatever. And then I take them out and get in a groove with them.
Yeah.
So you're so right. Kind of having them somewhere close will, especially if you, like for me, I work from home.
Yeah.
So having them kind of in the corner, because they're also really pretty. So it's really pretty to just have them out. That is 100% true. It will inspire you to kind of just like pick them up and do a little
And
quickie.
that's how the Bala bars are. Do you have the 3-pound dumbbells? Okay, because if not, I need to give you.
I have pink bars. I don't know if they're 2 or 3.
Yeah, those are the 3. So basically, it's like having those out. Really, I just like go get a rep in, and I think that helps. I hope it does.
I mean,
because no, I don't know. We'll see. But I would say my relationship with fitness is still complicated. Like I'm not somebody who's like you just got back from Pilates. Like it's hard for me to work out, like to get to a class. So I have my goals, but it's
you
like
have children.
it's like, I'm just saying, I'm not like have a fitness brand, go work out every day.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, I actually kind of want to talk about that though, because I think, well, again, it's like a lot of people might see like, oh, I have a lot of friends that are like, how the hell do you get in Pilates like before a podcast, before work? And like, let me be clear, that's not me every single day.
I was like,
I'm in my follicular phase.
Okay.
When I'm like, I have my weeks where I absolutely can't either, but I also think, I don't know that there's anyone who gets it in all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we're all just looking at other people all the time thinking
and assuming that, but maybe no one does. Okay.
Right?
That's comforting.
Right? And I can imagine like being a founder in the fitness space, there might come some, I don't know. Do you ever experience like comparison or anything?
Oh,
of that
definitely.
sort? You do?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that's in every field. You're like, oh, that person like is going on the Today Show or doing this, it's like you just have that little bit of moment. But I think it's like, again, this is a quote used all the time, comparison is the thief of joy. And I really do think that all the time. I'm like, okay, if I'm comparing myself, I'm like robbing myself of like enjoying my own life, my own experiences. So really try to like snap out of that too.
Yeah.
But it's the natural human instinct.
I think it kind of reminds me of that. I forget what the theory is called. You might know it. But you know when people are like chasing after one goal and then once they get there, they're like on to the next and forget about the goal prior. It's like what you were just saying. Oh, that person's on the Today Show. Like you were literally on SharkTank and probably all these other shows.
Exactly.
But then you see someone else while you're sitting at home doing one of those things, you feel less than. How do you kind of snap out of that?
And that's tough. Like in social media, like even if you try to follow the right accounts, whatever, like it just does that. It's like it's a necessary evil, like I do think, like I try to like tune in, how do I feel after I like just scoured Instagram for 20 minutes? And like most of the time it's not great.
Right.
So I just think that is really bad for comparison. But also I'm trying to like have this mindset lately of just like enough is enough. Like you have enough. You don't need more, enough in every area, like money or business. Like it's just like if you get it, there's almost something interesting about getting in that enough mindset, because then you'll just be happy where you are. And then it's also because I've heard a lot of people who did really reach that mountaintop and then were like, now what? Or like sold their companies for an insane amount of money. And then they're like, oh, but I want the startup days. And so I think if you remind yourself, like once you get to the mountaintop, there's like always a higher one. And so you just have to like enjoy every single part of it. I think that's helpful, but it's like a constant reminder.
Yeah. It's funny that you just said enough mindset, because I literally in my meditation the other day realized, wow, without even realizing it, I had to call myself out and be like, I have been in such lack mentality. I'm planning a wedding and all this stuff, and it's constantly like, my budget's not big enough. It's like thinking in lack, and I had to call myself out and start kind of changing the narrative in my head. And that's like my goal, without realizing it's my goal for this week, of like, I need to start rewriting the script. And it really is all mindset, which is another one of those cliche things everyone says. But it's kind of powerful when you really think about it, because it's like you can actually change the reality with just shifting your thoughts.
It's so true. And you don't have to do these like dramatic wellness routines every morning, because that's overwhelming. It can be like little like moments where you tell yourself, like in the morning, it's like this morning I got up and like honestly got ready in 10 minutes and like got here. And I was just like, okay, I just like told myself, okay, this is so amazing. You would have dreamed of this 5 years ago. You're in New York for all of these meetings and cool stuff. Like, how cool is that? Or, just like little reminders, grateful moments. And I think if you do that every morning, it doesn't have to be in the morning. It could be like walking and listening to podcasts, multitasking, just little moments of like, wow, okay, you did that, And so I think that helps throughout the day. It doesn't have to be like the gratitude journal, because that's overwhelming. Like habits are really hard for me. Like I did the 5-minute journal for 5 minutes, it's like, and then I stopped. So it's like, I think little mind shifts throughout the day are more approachable.
I actually would agree with that, because sometimes when you put pressure on yourself to have this one habit every day that you're hearing on a podcast is good for you, it's too much pressure. But it's almost like challenging yourself. Can we almost just catch ourselves in the negative thoughts and change it.
Exactly.
When it happens.
Yeah.
Rather
or
than
start your day in the positive or end your day in the positive. Like just
which is so hard
tell
sometimes.
your little,
It's
tell
so
your
hard.
brain, hey, this cool thing happened, or I'm about to do this.
That's what I'm trying to work on this week. It's like,
It's tough.
I realized that I was having all these lack thoughts, but then not shifting them. It was just like, oh, this is what it is. And then it would manifest in anxiety. And I was like, literally the other day, I was like, whoa. I'm like catching myself in this like a few weeks in. And I'm like, that's not going to breed any abundance that I'm looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You just have to like just trust it's enough.
It's so hard, but I like that.
Very hard.
I kind of like it's enough rather than like I am abundant. It's like, again, it's kind of like making all these big grand habits that everyone always talks about into like realistic, tangible things and also believable things. You know what I mean? Like if you're really deep in a lack mindset, maybe I'm abundant and have all the money in the world and lucky girl syndrome, it's like not resonating, but I have
lucky
enough
girl syndrome. I've never heard of this. I gotta
You
look
haven't?
that up. Sounds like a
it's a TikTok
trendy.
trend.
Yeah.
It was. Lucky
Girl syndrome?
Is when you say to yourself, "Oh, these like girls." It was started as a joke.
I'm so blessed. I'm lucky.
I'm so lucky. Good things come to me. Wait, what is it? It's like I'm so lucky. Everything comes to me naturally. Everything flows to me. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. Good things just happen to me.
And does it work?
Apparently.
Oh, let's do a little exercise.
But the point is, it became this big trend, and it's like maybe people aren't. If you're not actually believing it because it's this grand, like I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
But in the back of your head, you're like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not actually gonna work.
Come on, you know who you really are.
So I kind of like I have enough because I think everyone can kind of get behind that.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
And it just helps you really just like enjoy where you are.
Yeah.
Because when you get to the mountain, you're still going to be like, can I go back to the bottom and try something? You know?
Yeah, I like the affirmation, I am where I'm supposed to be. Every time I see that somewhere, I'm like, okay, we can take a breath.
100%.
Again, that mindset of like, I'm approaching 30s. And I think a lot of people in their late 20s probably can resonate with like, oh shit, everyone says once you hit 30, you're chilling, you're making money, all these things. And it's like, that's 2 years away. And it's almost like all of these things are just overwhelming when it's like, we have enough. We are where we're supposed to be. Like, relax.
For sure. And I it's funny because like I am in my 30s. So I'm hearing like, more like the things I'm getting served are like, you know, no one's successful below 40. Like it's like, there's always like a later in life
those stories.
sort of thing.
I love
30
those
is
stories.
young to be super successful. It's like, it's really young. So I kind of feel like we need to push that number up.
30 under 30.
Or no number. Like, yeah, 30 under 30, but that's the only 30.
But that's
thing.
also the
I feel
point.
like 30, you don't know you still don't really know what you want to do.
Which is like refreshing to hear because my favorite stories are like people like Melissa Wood Health getting successful. Like, I think she was over 35 or something. Like, I've
heard a lot of these 35, more like even 40s, 50s.
I love them.
Yeah.
50s. Literally, people start businesses also like when their kids
You're
go off to college.
early in your career at 30. You really are. Like, I was doing like odd jobs in my early 20s. You know, it's like 30, you're still so early in your career. I
think putting that into perspective also, sometimes I'll look back and be like, I have been in the workforce for, I don't know, 6 years. And I've had like 5 jobs. Like I've lived 17 lives in 6 years. Can you imagine by 35 how many jobs or experiences
and how much you've learned? Like it really is.
Yeah,
I think you said you had push that number up.
Yeah, you
as
had
we get older, keep pushing it.
Totally, and like you had a different job every single year. I'm the same type of person, so it's like imagine how many lives we'll live in 10 years.
100%. It's scary.
It is kind of scary, but like also exciting. Okay, let's do the ending segment. Favorite podcast.
I feel like I can't say The Skinny Confidential because
you absolutely can.
But it is Skinny Confidential, Second Life, How I Built This.
Second Life
with Hillary Kerr.
Oh, I know her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have to listen to her podcast. Mm-hmm. I actually have a similar few favorites.
What are your favorites?
Skinny Confidential, obviously.
And obviously listen to yours.
Oh, thank you.
I just started. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. My favorite podcast, I do love for like a giggle. I'm huge on Giggly Squad. Okay. Do you watch Summer House?
No.
Okay. Do you know Hannah Berner, comedian?
Yes.
Her podcast, Giggly Squad, with Paige DeSorbo. Okay. If you just need mindless laughter, which sometimes I just want to go on a walk and laugh and not get inspired
Yeah.
or anything,
Yeah.
Giggly Squad.
Okay, I like it.
Morning toast for that also.
Okay.
But then wellnessy, I love Skinny Confidential. I love
Kid ones. I've been listening to kid ones now. Raising Good Humans.
love. Also, I do Kundalini yoga with her name's Erica, and she has a podcast which is more like spiritual, which I like.
Ooh.
It kind of gives you like a mindset shift for the morning.
I like that.
Gracie Norton's new podcast.
There's so
It's like health hormone related. There's so many. I'm like, I don't even listen to music anymore. I'm such a
You're just
podcast person.
I know. I feel like I should be like learning something.
No, it's like bad because I should be more mindlessly listening to music and happy, and instead I'm constantly consuming content. So there's a balance.
Right. Well, I really am still so interested in hearing other founder stories. And so that's why How I Built This is a classic. And it's like, it's so basic, but I always go to that one, you know?
Yeah. They produce that one really well too.
Yeah.
Like it's not just, I feel like they chop it up and produce it so that you're really getting the value.
In it. Yeah.
You're in it. Okay. Do you read books?
I do.
Okay. That was like a weird question. Favorite business book you've read?
Right now I'm reading Hidden Genius, which is great if you're somebody who is, you know, you pick up a book, you read 10 pages, and then you move on. So Hidden Genius is like broken up in a nice way.
I love those books. Do you know Scout Sobel? She has Emotional Entrepreneur.
I'm in that book.
Are you actually?
Yeah, like they have like
I read it so long ago. I don't remember.
Well, you wouldn't remember because it's like they have a quote
in the beginning of each chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I loved.
She used to do our PR.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I loved that style.
Yeah.
Because it was like you read a couple pages of one chapter and then you can come back to it next week. Love that book.
Yes, that style. That's how Hidden Genius. It was like easy to zoom through in the plane.
It's also like that Untamed.
Oh yeah, I haven't read that. I need to read that.
I love like the short, quick.
Yeah. It's good if you're a reader that buys 10 books and then is like,
me.
Phase this out. Yeah, me too.
Well, especially with like business, like also like these niche health books, like hormones.
Yeah,
and like
they get boring.
I don't want to read 400 pages about my hormones.
Yeah, I just can't.
So I like the bite-sized ones too.
Yeah.
You can just like jump in. That's why I'm a podcast girl.
Yeah.
Like just give it to me in 40 minutes.
Right, for sure.
Call it a day.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite way to move?
Y7 yoga.
Love. Sarah's been on the podcast before too. I'm obsessed with her.
Amazing. And see, we're both in the fitness space and I feel like we shout each other out or build each other up. Like it's good.
Well, you're both like awesome people.
I'm just saying that there's
sense.
enough for everyone.
Yeah, 100%. I love Y7.
Yeah.
Have you done Y7 with Bala Bangles?
Yes. And they have I think in the West Hollywood one, they just started incorporating ball bangles and bars.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe
I haven't
I'll
visited that one yet because I go to the Silver Lake, but
can you bring? Do you
you
know?
can bring
Bala
whatever you
Bangles
want.
in?
You can bring them to anyone. They're not going to stop you anywhere. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring them into Y7
For sure.
Love that. Okay. Lastly, what is a wellness product that you can't live without right now?
Oh my gosh, it's just like so hard. There's so many. Oh, honestly, I just started the mouth tape thing, and I really agree. I didn't buy those. I'm going to. I'm on the wait list, but I use the other ones. Have you used it? It actually
have not
works.
used mouth tape.
Like because sometimes it's like I get woken up. Not sometimes. Every single night I get woken up many times from my kids. I'm like running from one bed to the next, and there's just something about it where I feel like I got a deep sleep, and even if I have to get up at like the kids are up at 5 or 6, I feel like I'm rested. I don't know if it's like just in my mind, but even if it is, like I'm happy to do that.
Because I'm confused by it, to be honest. And everyone I've heard that tries it, it's like immediately it clicks once they try it. Like you're saying it worked, and I'm like,
there's just something I can't even like pinpoint. Like I wake up like, wait, I just got a good sleep.
Huh.
You should definitely try it. It's like,
well, I just always thought it was for people who like snore. Like I'm not a
snorer either, but I just tried it, and also like I'm like if it helps with the anti-aging, why not?
I know, and apparently it's good for like your jaw and bad breath. So maybe I should. Something about it feels suffocating, but I'm sure you just get over that once you try it.
Get over it, yeah, because it's not.
Okay,
try.
I'm gonna get the Skinny Confidential one and put. My fiance's been wanting to use.
I need to get that one.
And I'm going to make him wear the pink Skinny Confidential.
Yeah, for sure. The other ones are ugly, so yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This was amazing. I feel like we touched everything I wanted to.
This was awesome.
Perfect. Shout out Bala. Where can everyone find you? All of the things. And I believe you gave us a 20% discount, which I'll put in the intro.
Perfect. Okay. shopbala.com. You can either follow us on @Bala or me @Natalie Holloway.
Okay, amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.